In late 2020, the world's most elite organizations operated under the assumption that their internal networks were impenetrable. They relied on state-of-the-art firewalls and complex monitoring systems designed to keep external threats on the other side of a digital perimeter. However, those digital defenses were already silently failing. The U.S. Treasury, the Department of Homeland Security, parts of the Pentagon, and dozens of Fortune 500 companies were effectively wide open. Foreign hackers had been operating inside these restricted environments for months. They sought silently on government servers, reading administrative emails and extracting classified secrets, all without triggering a single security alarm. This wasn't a failure of encryption or a brute force attack on a password. The breach bypassed the perimeter entirely, suggesting the threat had originated from within the systems they trusted most. The attackers didn't need to break down the doors. Instead, the victims themselves had unlocked the gates and invited the threat into the core of their networks. The malware arrived disguised as a legitimate, officially sanctioned software update that IT administrators had been trained to install immediately. This creates a terrifying puzzle for cybersecurity. If the most secure organizations on Earth can be convinced to bypass their own defenses, the very concept of a secure perimeter becomes obsolete. The origin of the breach was a company called SolarWinds. Their primary product, Orion, is a ubiquitous tool used by IT professionals to monitor the health and performance of large-scale computer networks. To function, Orion requires administrative-level access to an organization's servers and internal infrastructure. It is designed to see everything happening inside a network, so it can identify outages or performance bottlenecks. Because Orion was so effective, it was integrated into the most sensitive networks in the world. Over 33,000 customers, including critical government agencies and military contractors, relied on it as a central hub for their operations. This widespread adoption transformed Orion. It was no longer just a helpful utility. It had become a single, centralized point of failure that provided a direct path into the heart of the global supply chain. In 2019, a highly disciplined hacking group, later identified as Russian intelligence agents, infiltrated the internal systems of SolarWinds. They targeted the software build system, the digital factory where Orion's code is assembled into updates. They secretly injected malicious code into the final product right before it was packaged for distribution. When the update was released in March 2020, it carried an official digital signature. Because the code came from a trusted vendor, firewalls and security scans treated the package as legitimate. This package contained a hidden backdoor named SUNBURST. Once the update was installed, SUNBURST established a covert connection to the attackers, giving them unfettered access to the host organization's data. By compromising the software upstream, the attackers successfully turned the supply chain against itself, bypassing thousands of individual firewalls with a single, silent action. Once the attackers gained entry, they moved with clinical precision. They stole authentication tokens and impersonated authorized employees, ensuring their movements matched the expected patterns of the network to avoid detection. This went on for months until FireEye, one of the most respected cybersecurity firms in the world, detected a minor anomaly in its own internal network traffic. FireEye's analysts launched an exhaustive forensic investigation. They mapped the origin of the anomalous traffic, tracing it from the initial alert back to the SolarWinds Orion software running deep inside their network. The discovery changed the security industry overnight. If a top-tier cybersecurity firm could be blindsided by its own tools, it meant that no organization, no matter how well defended, was truly safe. The revelation triggered a global scramble. IT departments around the world were forced into a blind recovery effort, disconnecting critical servers and shutting down systems overnight as they searched for the breach. Security teams faced a desperate uncertainty. Because the attackers had been inside for so long, it was impossible to know which data had been copied, which passwords were compromised, or if additional backdoors remained active. The scale of the intrusion was massive, capturing the Department of Commerce, the Treasury, and numerous other federal agencies in a single net. This was one of the most successful cyber espionage campaigns in history. Its full impact is still being calculated, as the stolen intelligence could be weaponized for years to come. SolarWinds exposed a critical flaw in traditional security. A perimeter wall cannot block a threat that arrives as a verified internal update from a trusted partner. This failure led to a new security model, Zero Trust Architecture. In this system, no user or update is trusted by default. Every connection must be verified individually, regardless of origin. This event proved that modern warfare has moved beyond physical battlefields. An adversary can now disable infrastructure and steal national secrets simply by manipulating the digital tools that keep a society functioning. SolarWinds revealed that a modern network's most significant vulnerability is the trust it places in its own supply chain, an exploit that may already be active in the